Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Aston, and today we're going to do a review and a recap for Supergirl Season 2, Episode 1. So finally, we get to see the new Supergirl on the CW with the rest of the superhero crew. Not too much has really changed from the feel of this season to last season. It still feels pretty like the same. Only thing that's really changed is like the DOE headquarters. Everything else, for the most part, like feels the same. I don't really notice any differences. Well, me personally, like from my personal opinion. But besides that, like I said, it was still a pretty good episode. Like we see this episode is still pretty upbeat. The feel of this series is still pretty upbeat. I like Tyler Hoechlin as Clark Kent and Superman. I didn't have any gripes with him at all. He actually did a really good job from the times when he was on air. My favorite part about this episode though is they found a way to bring Superman in, but keep everything centric around Supergirl. So they didn't let Superman actually overshadow Supergirl. Even from the beginning, when the spacecraft went down, the first time we see Superman, we see that we let Kara take point, and Clark actually takes the back of the ship. And for the most part, any interaction they had is normally Kara is interacting first. Yes, Superman has his own little arc going on in this episode with Manhunter, but besides that, like most of this episode, like the episode is still centric around Supergirl. So I liked how they did that. They didn't let Superman just take over the show, which could have easily happened because Superman is such a big character. Honestly, he's like, it's him and Batman are the two biggest DC characters there are. So I'm glad they found that little balance point where it was still Kara's show, but Superman was featured in it. Now, with this episode, we get to see Kara gets her she gets finally to spend time with Clark. We know all last season we never really get to see Clark until like the end, but it's not really Clark. It's like a blurred view of Superman. So all last season, she's texting Clark, IMing him. Anytime Clark comes and save her, she passes out before he actually gets there. So this time, she actually gets to spend face-to-face time with Clark and actually go out and get to be superhero with him. So first thing we see when they do that is she's like, I've been wanting to do this my whole life. And I love how they have Superman play a more mature, more like calm, level-headed superhero than Kara. Because Kara is like, every time they do something together, she's super excited. She's soon he'll go anywhere. We see she's quick to introduce herself as his cousin and everything. And we see Clark just sit back, you know, just, hey, hi, my name's Clark and everything. He's not really like he's not really overpowering or like he seems a lot more mature than Kara does. So even from that first point, when she introduces everybody to him at the DOE, we see everybody starstruck by Superman. We see right away that Manhunter and Clark actually have history together. And we find out it's because when the first batch of kryptonite in this world, or in this universe, Martian Manhunter and Superman found it together. And Superman wanted it to be destroyed, but Manhunter actually decided, well, he was ordered to actually preserve it just in case future Kryptonians attacked and they had a weapon against them, which at hand, he had a weapon against Superman and now Kara if they decide not to follow whatever they want them to do. I'm pretty sure that'll probably fall back within, maybe not this season, probably next season, or maybe even towards the end of the season. We're going to find like maybe Metallo's going to get his hand on the kryptonite and that's going to be what, like something happens. Now, besides that, we see Kara is really struggling to fit in her personal life. All last season, like it was about her getting to fit in as Supergirl, or basically getting her Supergirl in order. And now it's her time for her to get Kara in order. We see she's finally going out on a date. It doesn't really go like the way she wanted to do because she finally gets the date, and it's like she's been wanting to date this boy so long that when she finally got it, like the feelings weren't really there. Like it was more a fantasy. Like it's just her life is just so hectic right now. She didn't really have time. So we see that relationship actually fall through. With Clark, we actually see we don't see. We hear like Lois Lane is mentioned. We see who else did we see? We hear a Gotham Easter egg is mentioned, and it's just cool that we get to see all these different aspects of the universe. I don't think they're actually going to do anything with the Gotham Easter egg, but it was just cool that now we know Gotham is a part of this universe. And I don't know if it's safer than Metropolis, because we see when they get attacked in Metropolis, like, oh, we're going back to Gotham. So we get to see that. We get to see a Daily Planet logo, and everything is pretty cool. Like I said, like I love Tyler Hoechlin as Superman. I'm glad that we get to see that happens. We get to see now that Lex is actually is in jail or in prison for this universe. He's supposed to be doing like 34 consecutive life sentences. So his sister, or adopted sister, is actually taking over. And for this whole episode, Superman and Supergirl must protect her. Like they're trying to figure out who is actually after her. So we know she's taking over LexCorp. She's going to rename it, or I don't know if it's LexCorp or LuthorCorp in this. I can't remember what they were calling it. But she wants to rename it as L-Corp. And with everything going on, basically we're assuming that Lex is trying to kill her because she's trying to change the name and basically change the mission of LuthorCorp. Now, with everything going on, we see they're questioning we're questioning like sister. She's basically gonna know like, but if my name was anything else, you guys would not be questioning me. And even Clark says like, yeah, but it's not. So that's why we're here. Basically, with your family history, we're trying to get to the bottom of this, see if you're the one who tried to destroy this spaceship. And it wasn't. And we find out it's actually after her. The assassin actually has these drones. He actually gets after her spaceship. Not her spaceship, her helicopter. And we see Clark and Kara's there to save him just in time. And we even get to see Clark go out on his own to save the people, which was pretty cool. And we see he's really just like Kara, to just a more mature version. Because like when we see he saved people, he'll stop and say hi to him real quick before he speeds off. And which is like a really refreshing thing we get to see for Superman. Now, once they actually find the assassin, Kara basically has him cornered, and he's not even killed by her. He's killed by Lex's sister, and it was cool to see. Like, it was not cool, but I like to see she basically did that. And when Clark actually writes up the report, we see he puts that in the report, and she actually thanks Clark. She wants to like let's know like she's not going to be a pushover and everything. So that's all we got for the main storyline. Now we had a couple side storylines where Manhunter and Clark had a few conversations. We know Clark is here for a couple episodes, but in those few scenes we have with Manhunter and Clark, he lets him know like, look, I'm never going to fully work with you guys as long as you guys have kryptonite. So that's basically where we end at with Clark. We knew Clark wasn't going to stay. Obviously, he's going to be a recurring role, but we get to see that. Moving on to, I forgot her best friend's name. It was kind of weird to me that he was able to learn Kryptonian. It was, because we know like in past when people actually learn Kryptonian, either they go mad or bunch of other stuff. Like we see when Lex actually learns it, he doesn't go like completely crazy, but he goes off the rails as far as like sanity. He, like, some people might argue he was always crazy, but I don't really know. Now with that, that's really we get to see he's actually a full-time member of the DOE now. He's there. He's no longer with Cat Grant. Now moving on to back to Kara, we see Kara in her personal life is struggling to pick a career. She Miss Grant actually gave her her choice of whatever job she wanted to be. She gave her originally I think 12 hours to decide. Kara did a web-based test based on her personality and really got like a marketing results, but her heart really wasn't in it. Now from that, she gets a little bit more time, and we see she basically decides to be a reporter after spending like all this time with Clark and seeing how he affects the world. And she wants to do the same thing, which is like pretty obvious. We figured she was gonna kind of run on the same path as her. And when we get back to report that to Miss Grant, we see she always had that idea for Kara. So like she always had this hope for Kara. Now another storyline we didn't get to really figure out was Grant. Miss Grant's something is affecting her. We don't know really what's going on. At the end of the episode, we find out she's gonna make some calls, but we don't really know what it is. I don't know if it's because of her. Like we know she has a son that she doesn't really get to spend time with in last season, and I don't know what else it could be. But that's something I can really think of that would affect her on a emotional level. Now, besides that, like, for the last Easter egg of the episode, basically get an Easter egg from Metello, and I'd love to see. I can't wait to see if he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be the season baddie or just like the next episode baddie, but I feel like he's gonna be a big enough. Maybe he's gonna be like this little first arc why Superman stays around. That's a good reason for him to stay around. And one thing we didn't mention was the new Kryptonian that landed. Where I'm assuming he's Kryptonian, but he landed in the same pod as Kara and Kara and Clark. We see needles can't penetrate his skin. We see he's not an android or anything when they X-ray him. And that's really all we have for this episode. Like not much really happened. It was cool just to see see Clark within this new universe. I wonder if he's actually going to be tied into the four-way crossover. I don't know if he's actually going to be a part of that. That would be cool to see Superman working with the rest of the crew. But besides that, that's really all we have for this episode. My super move of the week, it would have to go to probably just go to Clark, because we get to see Clark is actually he is there just to like help her with things, but at the same time he's mentoring her on different aspects of life and everything. Like we see when she didn't scan the Kryptonian, he like, all right, scan her real quick. And every other thing, like all the other things, he's just telling her about her life. Like, yes, it's important to be Supergirl, but it's also important to be Kara. So I had to give it to Clark / Superman for this episode. And my ups for this episode, like my downs, like the special effects for the rocket, it was kind of shaky at first. Especially when they were on Earth, it was real like shaky. It reminded me of a simulator. It looked like a simulator. The Flash's graphics are a lot better. I don't think they ever did anything as large a scale as that rocket ship, but it really took me out of it for a second. I realized how fake it was. My plus, like I said, is the way they actually incorporated Superman / Clark Kent into the series. He didn't overshadow Kara. He was there just enough to be a supporting character, but not there enough to actually take over the show. So those are my pluses for the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at @lost_culture, or you can follow us on Twitter at @lost_culture_TV, or you can follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. And always stay lost. He wouldn't step up, even though we know that. Like I feel like all we have for this episode, like I said, I gotta give my Rebels of the Week to